A very good morning, students. Hope you all are doing well. This semester, I would be taking legal aspects of business along with KL Ma'am and RT Sir. KL Ma'am had already started with Unit 2, the Indian Contract Act. I will be starting with Unit 1, which is the Indian Companies Act 2013. Under this, we would be covering up the definition, company, the meaning or definition of company, nature, advantages and disadvantages of company, the different types of companies, incorporation, memorandum of association, articles of association, prospectus, and difference between private and public company. So most of us have done this already, but let's see it once again since we have this in our portion. Now the first unit, Indian Companies Act 2013. Let's start with the meaning and definition. What is a company? Under different forms of organizations, we have sole proprietor, partnership, joint stock, cooperative society. So one of the forms of the organizations is a company. What is a company? A company or a joint stock company is an entity which is incorporated by a group of persons through the process of law for undertaking a business. Usually it is for doing a business which is legally approved. So it is an artificial person and it is separate from its members who are the shareholder. It normally has a share capital which is divided into units called shares, the owners of which are known as members or shareholders. Now, unlike the partnership, insolvency or death of a member does not affect the life of a company. That is, the company remains functional even if a member becomes insolvent or dies. Hope you are clear. Now let's move with the definition of what is company. According to section 2, subsection 20 of the Companies Act 2013, company means a company incorporated under this act or any previous company law. Now, what is previous company law? One of the laws says that a company is an artificial person created by law having separate entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal. Okay. Now, all this artificial person created by law having separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal, we would be doing in the features of what a company is. Clear? Repeat once again. What is a company? It is an artificial person which is created by law having a separate legal entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal. Now let's move to the next. What are the features of a company? As we have seen in the definition, all these are the features of a company. The first one being incorporation. A company is an artificial person which is established through the process of law. That is the Companies Act 2013 or any previous company's law. I have to get myself registered. That is incorporation. Separate legal entity. It is an artificial person having a legal entity which is separate from its shareholders. It can own property, enter into contract, conduct any business, sue or be sued for its debts and actions. So, it is separate. The shareholders are separate and the company is separate. There are two different legal entities. The scope of its activities and the working of the company is regulated by the Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association and provisions of the Companies Act. So, it should all be mentioned in these articles of association, memorandums, what is the objectives, what is the liability, what is the role of each of these and who is responsible, what is the liability, etc. Clear with incorporation and separate legal entity. Third, perpetual existence. A company has a perpetual succession which is not affected by the death, lunacy or bankruptcy of its members or shareholders. The life of a company comes to an end only by winding up through the process of law. Clear? So, members might come, members might go, but the company goes on. The fourth feature, limited liability. Unlike in the case of sole proprietor or partnership where the liability is unlimited, a company has a liability of the members in a company is limited to the value of the shares subscribed by them, except in the case of companies incorporated with unlimited liabilities. Except for these companies, they have limited liability. The members have limited liability. Transferability of shares. The shares of a company are freely transferable except in the case of private companies. I don't need to get any permission. There is a clause that I can transfer my shares to any other person. The management and ownership. Now, a company is not run by all the members who ever contribute capital, but by their elected representatives called as directors. So, the management and ownership both are two different things. So, the management is done by someone and it is owned by the members or the shareholders. And lastly, it is a common seal. A company may or may not have a common seal, but if it has a common seal, it is to be affixed to all the important documents of the companies. It's something like a signature of the members, so without which it does not get approved or it is invalid. Clear with the features? So as we did in the definition, we have segregated each one of them and we are doing it in detail. Incorporation, it has to be registered. Separate legal entity, the shareholder and the company are two different entities. Perpetual existence, people might come or members might come or member might go, but the company goes off forever. Limited liability, except in the case of companies incorporated under unlimited liabilities. I can easily transfer my shares except in the case of private companies. Management and ownership are again two different things. With the company is managed by elected representatives called directors, and I need to have, it is optional. If I have a common seal, then it has to be affixed in all the important documents. Now we have done with what is the meaning and features of a company. These features we would divide it into what are the advantages and the disadvantages of a company. Now the first advantage, I hope all of you are clear till here. Okay. Now, the first advantage of a company is accumulation of large resources. The major drawback of a sole trader or a partnership concern is scarcity of resources. The resources of a sole trader and of a partner is being limited. Since the resources are being limited, these enterprises have always suffered for want of funds. Whereas in the case of company, they can collect large sum of money from large number of shareholders. There is no limit on the number of shareholders in a public company. If I am in need for more funds, the numbers of shareholders can be increased. So joint stock companies are suitable for those businesses where large amount of funds are required. Clear? So second one, limited liability. It is an advantage. The liability of a members in a company form of organization is limited to the nominal value of the shares they have acquired. So if a person has purchased a share of rupees 100, his liability is limited to rupees 100 only. If the share is partly paid, then he can be required to pay only the unpaid value of the share. In no case the total payment will exceed rupees 100. So the limited liability encourages many persons to invest in shares or joint stock companies. So many persons will be reluctant to invest in those enterprises where liability is unlimited. They would not be interested because it is unlimited. The next one is continuity of existence. Now, when a company is incorporated, it becomes a separate legal entity. Now, it is a separate legal entity with perpetual succession. That is, the members of a company may go on changing from time to time, but does not affect the continuity of a company. The death or insolvency of members does not in any way affect the corporate existence of the company. So the continuity of the company is not only in the interest of the members but is also beneficial for the society, because I've invested shares in the company. So if it has to continue, so the discontinuation of a company may cause wastage of resources and inconvenience to the customers. Clear? Next, efficient management. In the company form of organization, the ownership is separate from management. So it enables a company to appoint an expert who is qualified person for managing various business functions. The availability of large scale resources helps the company to attract talented persons by offering them higher salaries and better career opportunities. So the efficient management will help the company to expand and diversify its activities. Clear with the first 4 points? Next, economies of large scale production. With the availability of large scale resources, the company can organize or increase the production on a big scale. The increase in scale and size of the business will result in economies in production, purchase, marketing and management, etc. These economies will enable the company to produce goods at a lower cost, since the production is more at a lower cost, thus resulting in more profits. So the company will help consumers by providing them with cheaper goods and will help it will also be able to accumulate more resources for further expansion. Transferability of shares, as we did earlier, except in the private company, I would be able to transfer. The shares of public company are freely transferable. Ability to cope with changing business environment. Now, since the present business enterprise operate under uncertain economic and technological environments, so technological changes are taking place every day. The needs of consumers are varied and changing. To cope up with the changing economic environment, every business is required to invest money on research and developmental programs. So in a sole trader and a partnership firm, they cannot afford to spend money on research work. Whereas in a joint stock company, since I have huge funds, I would be able to afford to invest in doing a research and then implement. Diffused risk, self-explanatory once again. In sole trader and in partnership business, the risk is shared by a small number of persons. Further, whereas in company form of organization, the number of contributors is large, so risk is shared by a large number of persons. The burden to be shared by different individuals become insignificant. It enables companies to take up new ventures as well. Democratic setup. The value of shares are generally small, so it helps persons with low incomes to purchase the shares of companies. So shareholders come from all walks of life. Every individual has an opportunity to become a shareholder. Secondly, the board of directors is elected by the members. So members have a say in deciding the policies of the company. The company form of organization is democratic both from ownership and management side. And lastly, social benefits. The company form of organization mobilizes scattered savings of the community. These savings can be better used for some productive purposes. It enables financial institutions to invest their money by providing them avenues. It also enables the utilization of natural resources for better productive uses. So large scale of production enjoys a number of economies, enabling low cost of production. So the society is supplied with enough quantity of goods as well. Okay, I hope you are clear with all the advantages. Just go through it once. Accumulation of large resources, limited liability, continuity of existence, efficient management, economies of large scale production, transferability of shares, ability to cope with changing business environment, diffused risk, democratic setup and social benefits. Clear till here? Introduction, meaning, features, From the features, we have taken